Hello everybody, welcome to First Fridays, where I play a game for the first time and express my impressions on a game for about 15 to 20 minutes. As I will also be playing MMOs, these will be split into two parts at roughly 15-minute sections. So without further ado, I have my good friend Sharp
Hello.
with me, and he will be joining me in playing World of Warcraft. Now, I know this is a bit late, but believe me when I say this is my first time ever playing this MMO. So, let's quickly jump into it and create our characters. So, I'm going to be creating... Let's see... well, I'm male, but should I go female? What do you think, Sharp?
Well, stick to whatever you want. If playing female's more fun for you, then go for it, I suppose.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick the humans. What are you going to pick?
Well, I'll just go with whatever you're starting with. Depending on the race you pick, that determines your starting area.
Oh, so if I were to pick, like, dwarf or something, I wouldn't be in the same area as a human?
Right. They're pretty close together, but they're not in the same starting spot, specifically.
Okay, so in that case, I will be playing a female human that's a hunter.
Alright. I'll go ahead and make myself a male human paladin, but I have to ask, what made you choose human and hunter specifically?
Well, the thing is, I clicked on this more info tab, and it says that humans apparently have, like, increased combat abilities, and they seem very well-rounded.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it goes in a lot of these games. Humans typically are going to have your more averaged out stats. To my recollection, they also gain reputation faster, so that's good for grinding out certain kinds of quests later on.
Now, as for hunter, well, every single game I've played so far, hunters slash rangers slash archers just seem to be the most OP classes ever.
Well, they're pretty middle of the road here. I would say that they're the easiest to play, by far, but as far as their damage goes as a DPS class, they're pretty middle of the road.
Alright, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to pick some stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's see. Piercings. I don't need no piercings. We're good. And the name, of course, since this is my channel, Goawei. Now, I'm not saying go away, viewers. Or am I telling Sharp to go away?
I'd certainly hope not.
Let's finish it here. Okay, so my character's created. What about you?
Yes, I'm currently loading into the game world.
Oh, I should probably do that too.
Yeah, it takes a minute or two if it's your first time.
Oh yeah,
There's going to be a little opening cutscene too, just so you know.
Should I skip this? Is it going to be copyrighted? Can we talk over it? Is it going to be okay?
It should be fine.
Alright, so should we watch this or should we skip it? Is it important?
It gives you a little bit of knowledge basing as to where you're starting. I mean, you can let it run if you want, or you can skip over. You just want to get to covering the gameplay.
I think everyone here should know what the WoW scenes are like already, so let's just hop over to the game. I have skipped it.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay, so how do I move?
Just WASD movement on the keyboard.
Okay, so that works out perfectly fine. How do I attack?
It's basically you just go up and right-click. Apparently you start with a wolf, so that's your little starting pet since you're a hunter.
Yo, I have a buddy. Can I name him?
Yeah, you can. You can give him a name.
When can I give him a name?
I thought you could just right-click on it and name it straight up, but I haven't played Hunter in a while.
I'm trying to click on him, but it's not letting me. And also, the movements are kind of weird. Like, I thought I would move sideways, but you have to actually hold down on your right click to move sideways.
That's one way to do it. I mean, you can use the Q and the E keys to move those.
Oh, okay. That helps a lot. I thought it was WASD like you said. I didn't know the Q and the E did something too. All right, so
it's just all inclusive. So I'm sending you an invite.
Need help?
How do I help?
Be careful.
And
You should have a little pop-up that comes up on your screen.
I don't see it.
Let me see. Oh, never mind. It says starter edition accounts can't invite characters into groups. So much for that.
So we can't party?
Apparently not. I didn't know that was a restriction offhand, but yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of follow you around to give you a guide. So if you see a guy like this with the exclamation point over his head, he basically has a quest for you to take. So in this case, we'll just want to go ahead and take his quest, and it'll have the little area lit up on the map with a blue outline as to what you
Yeah.
want to go ahead and kill.
So quest area, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and you'll notice the enemies that you're targeting will have their nameplates show up. So since we need to kill these Blackrock wargs, that's the thing you want to target to take down.
I mean, like, can I move and shoot, or is that not a thing? And how do I loot?
It interrupts your auto shooting, so you'd have to keep reinitiating your firing. But yeah, you can't move while shooting automatically.
Aw, this is not anything like Black Desert then. I thought it was gonna be more like action-packed.
Yeah, it's been something that people have been asking for a while, but I think the type of game, since this is basically one of the first types of MMOs out there, it would just change the game too much for them to make it fully action-oriented.
I see.
I mean, that's not to say that you can't manually move an attack by just continually, say, right-clicking or using your skills while moving, because that's how people typically do it at higher level, but it's not going to auto-fire for you.
How many of these? Oh, I have to kill 6 according to my quest list.
Yep.
I feel like this is kind of slow, though. Is it always this slow?
Compared to other games, yeah, I guess you could say. But, I mean, this is faster than what it used to be back in the day. I mean, I used to play, when I first started, was back in Burning Crusade days, which was a good 10 years ago.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what Burning Crusade is.
Oh, well, it's the first expansion that WoW came out with. So, yeah, your classic vanilla WoW, as people call it, and then there's Burning Crusade, which was the first expansion, followed by a bunch of other ones. I won't go into it, but basically, they've made enemies a lot faster to put down. I mean, the quests themselves, their nature hasn't really changed all that much over the years, but it used to take you a good 3 to 4 times longer to kill down each individual mob, even though those kill counts may be the same. Sometimes it'll be you have to get an item to, like a certain count of, say, wolf pelts or something like that, for instance. And the drop rates were originally lower than they were these days. So they did speed it up, yes, but it's not as fast as probably some of the more modern games that you've been playing.
So based on what you're telling me, it still follows the whole gather X amount of items, kill X amount of monsters, come to this NPC and report in kind of quest system, right?
Yeah, this is the game that kind of made that popular.
I figured as much. I mean, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is a WoW clone. That's a WoW clone." By the way, where are you?
I just went back to turn the question.
Oh, are you Hobo Sharp?
Yep.
Well, hello, Sharp. I'm about to turn in my quest too because I just killed 6. Do I accept this other one or no?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, might as well. That's basically your leveling engine is you do quests. This game popularizes quest experience over kill experience for the most part.
Oh, I got a belt, apparently.
Yeah, you put it on. If you press B, that's your hotkey for your inventory.
Yeah, the prompt told me to do so. Here's the item you
okay.
equipped. Okay, thanks, game. I might be slow, but I'm not that slow. Come on now.
Well, again, a lot of what they've been working on over the years has been they like to make the game, as they call it, more accessible, which is like the nice way that big companies like to say casual, which is why you may notice, even though you have, even with your pet taking damage for you, you'll probably notice that your pet doesn't take much damage at all when he does take hits.
I was actually about to ask you about that. I was like, how come my pet's taking like slashes from all these things and it's like it's not getting hurt at all?
Right, that's one of the things they kept kind of changing over the years. I mean, originally, when this game came out, a single encounter would mean that you'd have to go ahead and sit and eat food and drink water to get your health and mana back over time slowly, and you do it like once every 2 to 3 mobs if your pet didn't just get killed outright. But nowadays you can just go back to back, no big deal, not really any risk of being killed, not for a good while.
So my next question is, what happens if my wolf dies?
Well, you do have a skill that you'll get that's just called Revive Pet. I believe that's already in your skill set, even at this level. And as long as you're outside of combat, then you should be. Actually, you may have been able to do it in combat, I forget. But as long as you're not being hit, because being hit can interrupt casting in general, anyway, you can
Yeah, I see it. It
basically
says
revive your pet.
Revive pet, 35 focus, 2 cast, revives your pet, returning it to life with 100% of its base health. Okay.
Right, so 2-second cast, so make sure nothing's hitting you for 2 seconds, and you basically get your pet back for free.
What
Well,
Wait, so
focus, but
what
yeah.
is focus?
That's your resource. So depending on the class that you choose, a lot of them will use mana. Certain melee types will use fury, and then in your case, it's just focus, which think of it as a resource that regenerates faster than mana, but you don't get as high of a cap of it as mana.
So it's like my SP bar, basically.
Basically.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. Alright, I need to kill like 3 more of these. I'm sorry if I'm really slow. I'm just looking around and I see a lot of people here now. I mean, that just goes to show you that this game is still pretty popular after all these
Yeah.
years.
They do a pretty good job of keeping up the updates on it. I mean, they just recently came out with Legion about, I want to say, 4 or 5 months ago. And a lot of people are still having a pretty good amount of fun with that. I haven't tried any of that content out yet. I never really got a character high enough to do it. I hear it's good. But yeah, I haven't actually tried it myself to really back that up or vouch for it.
I see. So wait, you told me when you started playing and pretty much how far you gotten, but honestly, like, what's the content you left at? Like, after you were done completing playing and then you didn't want to play anymore?
That would have been Cataclysm, really, was the last content I actually went all the way through to the end, I would say. Um, Basically, to put that in perspective, you have Burning Crusade followed by Wrath of the Lich King, and then Cataclysm was the third expansion that they put out. The reason for this was that was basically the turning point where they decided to kind of revamp the entire world, change things up, and it was basically between Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm was when they started making things a bit too easy for what I prefer. They made some changes to my favorite class at the time, which was Paladin, and I just didn't care for it. It used to be a bit more of a dynamic class, I guess you could say, and going from Cataclysm forward, and even now with the Legion patches, it feels like it's one of the many tank classes in the game that you can play, which is the capacity I liked playing it in. I mean, you can also do DPS and heals, but as tanks, that felt like it's the idiot-proof option. I can't think of a better way to put it.
By the way, I just turned in my quest, so what do I do from there?
Okay, well, if he doesn't have any more quests to give you, then there should be some other NPCs down the road that you can take quests from as well.
Yeah, I see this guy right here. Well, he sent me to go to this guy, I guess. I saw him on the map.
Hello.
Yeah, I just
Right.
completed it.
Safe travel.
Yeah, it's pretty on rails, so it's pretty hard to screw up these days.
And then there's a walking NPC.
What can I do for you? See you around.
Wait, so am I only gonna be doing quests this episode? Because it's already hitting close to like that 15-minute mark, and I haven't feel like I've done much, if you know what I mean.
Pretty much. I mean, this is how they introduce you to the game. Is it's going to be a series of quest lines for the most part. So they'll give you your starting quest anytime you pick any given character, race, and class, and they'll just kind of railroad you to get to the main capital city, which isn't too far from here. And then once you get to the capital city, you'll start to branch out a little bit and start exploring a little bit more. But for the most part, that's the game. I mean, you go from point A to point B, kill X monsters, or get Y drops, return them, and then do it all over again.
Is it just me, or is like the music not really playing anymore at this point? Does it like stop looping at some point?
I don't think it stops looping, but it does have sort of an ambient track for the most part. You may notice that it kind of fades to the background a little bit.
I don't know about fading. I can't even hear music anymore. I just hear like the background sounds, like crickets chirping, bugs, birds, and my wolf gnawing at the corpses of these goblins.
Well, couldn't say. I typically have my music turned off as far as this goes, so I never really noticed.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering because, like I said, I was just playing through it, and all of a sudden I was like, this is actually more quiet than I expected it to be.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, in most places, the music is kind of muted, and like I said, more of an ambient track than an actual track that you're meant to pay too much attention to. Certain, like dungeons and such, will have a bit more of a forefront music track for you to listen to. Especially in the newer content, I think they did more to try and make their score sound a little bit more oppressive. But yeah, I couldn't tell you for like the starting area. I don't think they'd try to waste their best tracks here.
Well, based on first impressions, looking at it, the game seems relatively polished for what it was back then. I feel like it's definitely aged a bit, even if they have been updating these new areas. It just doesn't seem like it keeps up with... Well, I think I'm being a bit biased because the bases I'm looking at is Korean graphic
Right.
wise. So those MMOs are insanely like visual, you know?
Right, and that goes a lot for Eastern versus Western, a lot of the times in these games. I mean, while certain Western companies may still have a high interest in graphical fidelity, you'll notice that the Eastern market likes to have their character models look a lot more, I'd say, polished and pretty, and everything looks sort of surreal in those worlds. Whereas Western market seems to like to make it look more kind of down to earth, realistic, a bit more gritty in comparison.
All right, so we're past that 15-minute mark at this point. We will end part 1 here. Since this is an MMO, we will be splitting it up into 2 sections, roughly 15 minutes each, and we will continue part 2 from where we left off here. So thank you all for joining us. Hope to see you in part 2, and it will be uploaded on the same day, so you won't miss out. If you like the content we provided, hit that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you want to reach any more of the new content that comes out, as we do upload every single day. Sharp, do you have anything to say to the viewers before we leave it off?
Well, hope we'll see you in part 2.
Alrighty then. Bye-bye.